will start with a roll call. Okay, CB1. Okay, CB2. CB3.
Present.
Thank you. CB4.
Here.
Okay, and can you state you're stepping in for?
I am stepping in for Jessica Chait. I am first Vice Chair Leslie Bogosian Murphy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
CB5.
Here, I'm Brad Sherwood, our chair, going to be here. I'm your Rod Nody Victor, the vice chair.
Fantastic. CB6.
Sandy McKee from CB6.
All right. CB7.
Here, Alex Bell, here.
Okay, terrific. CB8. Welcome, by the way. CB8. Okay, CB9.
Present.
CB10.
Present online.
Thank you. CB11.
Present.
CB12.
Present.
Excellent. All right, we have quorum. Lovely. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I wanted to throw out the adoption of the November 20th agenda.
So moved.
Any oppositions? Seconds?
Second.
All right, it's passed. Adoption of the October 16th Borough Board minutes.
I have a really small addition.
All right, I'm all ears.
Okay, it says the cars, this is.
What page or what section?
Community Board 6 report.
Okay, got it.
The cars left at the end of August, and we will be able to use it this fall.
And we got it.
Not the
Noted.
cars, but us.
Is that soft change okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So it is passed. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, moving on to the Borough President's report, if you allow me. I wanted to take a moment and thank all of you, and especially your district managers, for all the support that you gave us in getting the message out for the leadership training series. It was a great, great success. It's now on the Manhattan Borough President's YouTube channel, so they are accessible. In addition to navigating the DOB and HPD portals, we did one on topography as a useful tool, archiving, and which was a great, great one. Thanks, Jesus, for doing that for us. Quite exceptional and really enlightening in terms of how to, archive and move forward so that the institutional knowledge remains in the community board as we move forward. It will be on the YouTube channel all the way through the 31st of December. So, and as far as the two that are mandatory, which are EEO and COI, we are relying on the members to be honest when they reapply, and they, if they were not actually on it, let us know that way. Federal shutdown. Our office kept a really strong watch on the federal shutdown to ensure constituents could receive food distribution information and updates about what the state of New York and New York City was doing to assist food insecurity. The Food Bank of New York's map was a really great resource for helping people find locations in their own community. Federal workers with low and moderate income also had access to our office partnership to the Hebrew Free Loan Society to apply for no-cost interest-free loans up to $7,500. A ferry update, due to the Manhattan Borough President's advocacy, EDC recently announced updated ferry routes, which will go into effect in December, with additional plans to explore future service expansions in the future. The announcement includes a plan to explore expanding ferry service to the west side of the Manhattan, including the piers at 125th Street. We thank all the community board members and community members who weighed in on the familiarization plan over the summer. Where sidewalk sheds, so they're going to look a little different moving forward. On November 18th, the Department of Buildings released a series of new designs for sidewalk sheds that we hope will dramatically improve our streetscape and reduce the number of sheds that are on the city. As you may remember, our office released the sheds in 2024, which laid out a series of policy proposals and reforms that led to the council passing important reforms. We are extremely excited about the progress, and Borough President, Mr. Mark Levine, will work to implement these new changes and continue to advocate for smarter sheds policy. Our right to counsel hearing. Finally, my last thing, the Borough President recently provided testimony at an important hearing on right to counsel on legalization. He proudly introduced into law while during his time in City Council. And it made New York City the first municipality in the nation to provide a lawyer to households facing eviction in housing court. The hearing provided Manhattan Borough President Levine with a firm platform to provide recommendations on how to increase the percentage of cases received and representing by expanding the city's budget towards the effort. So with that said, I also see that CD1 has arrived and 8 has arrived. So duly noted. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, with that, we do have a presentation today. Very excited with City Parks. And Trisha, we miss you, and I will hand it over to you.
Oh, hi, everybody. Thanks, CBA one for joining us.
Good to see you again.
See you guys too. Hey, everybody, it's really good to see you. And I'm sorry I'm not in person to give you all hugs and tell you how much I miss you in person. But luckily enough, we're happy to be here. And I'm really happy just to really pass it off and do a quick introduction to our public programs team. The reason for this presentation today really came out of a couple things. Iris Rodriguez Rosa, our commissioner, has spent nearly 40 years in the agency, and she got her start in recreation. And during her time leading the agency, she's really wanted to center and focus on public programs and the kind of broad offerings of public programs. Actually, when I first joined Parks CB8, which is my home board, where I also served, invited me to come and just, it was such a fun conversation. They wanted me to talk about like the secret parts of the Parks Department that people don't really know about. And I actually talked about rec centers as one of those kind of components that we of course talk about our park programs, but I don't feel like we talk enough about like the recreational center offerings. I also talked about Historic House Trust, which is like a whole other thing that we could have another conversation on. It's our historic houses that are part of the agency as well. But today we're going to talk about public programs. And so recently I saw a presentation done internally at our agency talking about the kind of wide offerings of what's happening in public programs world. It was so good. It was so inspiring. It was just really fascinating. And so I reached out to Eric and Porfirio and said, hey, if you guys are interested, we'd really love to share this information with Borough Board. So essentially, I was fishing around looking for a way to come see you all. And wanted to show you some of the other components of what just is so cool and what's happening in the Parks Department, particularly on the Parks and Recreation side. And this is really kind of focused on that rec side. So with that, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the public program side who's here with me today virtually. You're going to hear from Emily Chase, Paul Fantana. We've got our new Chief of Rec for Manhattan, Hakeem Omalad, and then our Deputy Chief of Operation of Rec, Malika Green on the call, and then Sarah Aquan, who also oversees our rangers and other kind of public programming regarding education. So whole kind of large, and there's somebody else who's joining us too, sorry. Oh my gosh, and Ranger Rob is here. If you don't know who because everybody in Manhattan should know who Ranger Rob is. I think he's part wolf.
Unfortunately, he can't change his name, so he is Angie Kwan right now.
We'll try to check.
He's having some technical difficulties, but
cool. So
You can change it for him.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna pass it off.
You're lucky that it's on purpose.
So, yeah,
With that, I'll pass it off to our Assistant Commissioner, Emily Chase, to start the presentation, but it's good to see all of you, and I can't wait to see you soon. I'm sure we'll see each other in the next, probably day or so, knowing. Bye.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you all for having us. We're excited to be able to talk about all the amazing offerings and be in touch with you. I'm joined also by our Public Programs Chief of Staff, Natalie DeRocco, who is sharing screen and helping us through this. And we're going to go through this together with Chief Paul Fontana, who's our Chief of Programming and Strategic Management for Recreation, and our Chief of Education and Wildlife, Sarah Okwan, and talk a little bit about just who we are very briefly, and then talk about some of our accomplishments specifically from the summer and some opportunities. So I just look at this as a touch point. Happy to stay in conversation with you, obviously, and work through opportunities and further conversations, but really excited just to show you some opportunities and images to get us going. So to start, just who we are. I'm Emily Chase. I'm Assistant Commissioner of Public Programs, and not to get too deep into sort of our internal structure, but our division is comprised of 4 units: Education and Wildlife, headed up by Chief Okwan; Recreation, which is headed up by Chief Paul Fontana, along with our recreation chiefs, including Hakeem Amalade, our Chief of Recreation in Manhattan, recently named, and Deputy Chief Malika Green. We have aquatics and also media education. Many of you may be familiar with our media labs that are tucked within our recreation centers. And we really just want to offer free and low-cost opportunities with innovative programming with our amazing staff. So why are we doing what we do? We really just want to make sure that the value of play, an emphasis on learning, and an importance of that sense of place fuel everything we do. We want to make sure everyone feels that they belong. We want to make memories. We want to allow New Yorkers to see parks and public spaces in unique ways, and really see themselves differently in the process, and build their own sense of self, through confidence, through connection, through that building of community. And we also build competencies and skills, in those media labs, teaching specific skills, having kids engage in instructional sports clinics. There's so many different ways that we allow folks to just expand their horizons and be exposed to opportunities that enrich their lives. We hope, too, that by engaging with these spaces, programming these spaces, we're going to make them obviously more vibrant, but make them safer, more welcoming, and just improve the quality of life in the city overall. And just to talk about where we do what we do, hopefully many of you are very familiar with our recreation centers, which, they each have their own personality, but they include fitness rooms, gyms, multi-purpose rooms, media labs, indoor pools, and other unique spaces. We have our Ocean Breeze Track and Field Athletic Complex. I don't know how many of you have had the chance to visit, but if you'd like to, let us know. It's on Staten Island, and it can host international competitions. We have our nature centers and visitor centers. We have the Little Swedish Cottage in Central Park. We have our field houses, lots of indoor spaces that Parks oversees and runs programming out of. We have outdoor spaces, clearly. That's what Parks is all about, right? All the city's green spaces, not to mention some unique ones like our Alley Pond Adventure Course. We all have our outdoor pools and those playgrounds throughout the city. And just many of you, I'm sure, know, but just to highlight it, we really try also to bring Parks programs beyond New York City's 4 walls, like beyond the 4 walls of our rec centers. We have facilitated programming at all sorts of public institutions, from schools to hospitals to churches. Programs like Shape Up really try to reach people and get people fit in all corners of the city. And of course, our Urban Park Rangers are in classrooms through our Natural Classroom program, and then bring people out to parks. And we're really working hard with aquatics to engage as many second graders as possible in our Swim for Life programming. And that includes working with Department of Education pools. So lots of good stuff happening in all of these various spaces. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chief Paul Fontana, who will talk a bit more about some of our summer highlights on the recreation side.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
First, thanks for having us. I really appreciate the board for seeing us this morning. Thank you to Commissioner Shimomura for setting this up. We're lucky to have her as well. And congratulations to Chief Milan. So happy to talk about some of the stuff we do, well, citywide, but Manhattan, of course, is an integral part of everything we do. Kids in Motion. Really, when Commissioner Chase talks about programming outside the walls of recreation centers. Kids in Motion is a great example of that. It really provides us an outlet to program local parks and communities throughout the city in a very real way. It's a program that basically we staff it with a playground associate throughout the summer months, a little bit in the spring, and a little bit in the fall in many cases. And we work with the community what they're interested in and what the amenities in the park provide. So it really allows all kinds of unique programming to happen, 4 to 7 hours every day for free for kids from the community. We also really like it because it's camp light, so it doesn't have the registration. It's walk-in, so we're really open to anybody that wants to join. Of course, with COVID, we experienced some huge declines during that time period. But as you can see the numbers below, we're bouncing back, and we like where the numbers are headed. We've highlighted Manhattan, the number of sites and attendance is pretty consistent. We're pretty happy with Manhattan. Manhattan tends to be one of the flagships for what we do in the city, both in terms of attendance and programming, and the general quality of the product that folks see. You can't really talk about our programs without seeing some happy faces and some of the product out there. So these are some great examples of Kids in Motion sites, a taste of what is offered. I mean, there's anything from Gaga pits to arts and crafts. There can be basketball leagues, various sports leagues, but it really runs the gamut of things that we provide. We're shifting into Movies Under the Stars, another great program that we offer to the public. Great because it expands not only like the neighborhoods we serve, but also the times we serve. Right. So Movies Under the Stars, it's an annual summer movie series. Since 2015, we've expanded pretty dramatically in partnership with the Mayor's Office of Media Entertainment, who's provided us funding to purchase equipment, but also has provided us staffing for this throughout the city, as well as they also cover licensing fees for a lot of the films. Our goal number of screenings is about 400 per year around the city, but that's really dependent on the weather. So everybody appreciates a Friday or Saturday movie, but if it does rain on a Friday or Saturday, we do our best to reschedule on a Friday or Saturday, but we can't always accommodate just because of the limited number of weekends throughout the summer. But 2025 was a good year with over 300 screenings. Manhattan had 79 this year with a good, strong attendance showing of over 10,000. Just some examples of some parks near you that probably you may have seen. And next is the Summer Sports Experience. It's an instructional youth program that teaches sports skills. Knowledgeable staff introduce kids to sports like baseball, basketball, dodgeball, flag football, kickball, pickleball, soccer. You kind of name it, right? I mean, we do a lot of different sports programs with the goal of linking some of them to our year-round programs at our recreation centers. This program runs itself from April 16th through October 15th, operating about 21 sites around the city for about 24,000 participants. Just highlighting some of the parks that are in Manhattan. So Brigadier Charles Young, Brigadier General Charles Young, sorry, was promoted, Rucker, J. Hood, Pelham, and Thomas Jefferson. The images say it all. I can't really top what they show. And I mentioned our structured programs. Kids in Motion is great because it's not structured, but that's not to say that we don't love our structured programs. Now, summer camps are very structured, and that means it's DOH regulated, which is great. It provides a drop-off program, basically childcare for folks around the city, and our camps are great. It's a 7-week program. where parents can leave their kids confidently knowing that trained park staff is going to take care of them throughout the summer. We offer STEAM, education, games, swimming instruction, you name it. Like our camps provide like what the best camps in the city provide at extremely low cost. We have between 500 and 600 campers registered every summer. Participation rates are good, and we serve neighborhoods throughout the city. We do have a few specialty camps here and there. Mentioned below is the Ocean Breeze Track and Field Camp. That is a single service camp, so it's a little bit different than our structured camp, so it doesn't require registration, that sort of thing. Love to see our campers doing the robotics courses.
All right, Paul, I'll grab it back to talk a little bit about our outdoor aquatics programs, which we're incredibly pleased with. Parks was really pleased to bring back adult lap swim at select pools this summer. So I know many of you who have been around for some time might recall our very successful lap swim program, and that was missed by the community as we had to pause during COVID in the years that followed. So we were excited to bring that back at select pools. Learn to Swim expanded from 6 to 10 pools. We want to obviously expand Learn to Swim as best we can with staffing levels, lifeguard levels, and are aggressively working to plan to do that and keep our eye on expansion. Senior Splash is a huge hit, particularly at Thomas Jefferson, which maybe many of you are familiar with. But we were really excited to see a 44% increase in individual participants in these aquatics programs this past summer. We are also excited to introduce programming at Gottesman Pool, of course, in the north end of Central Park, a real highlight of the summer of 2025. It's Gottesman right there. And now I'll hand it over to Chief of Education and Wildlife, Sarah O'Quinn.
Thank you, Emily. So as Emily said, I am the Chief of Education and Wildlife, and this includes 3 divisions. I just gave myself an extra division. 3 divisions: the Wildlife Unit, Teaching and Learning Support, and the Urban Park Rangers. Every day, New Yorkers make small choices in our parks, some thoughtful, others unaware of the consequences. A jogger calls 911 after spotting a skunk, a child picks daffodils for a teacher, or a man tosses his pizza crust on the ground, assuming it will biodegrade. These may seem trivial, but when multiplied across 30,000 acres of parkland and millions of daily park users, they have real environmental and economic impacts. While some people understand how their actions affect our city parks and natural resources, many don't. And that's where public engagement comes in. Through education, outreach, and stewardship initiatives, New York City Parks Education and Wildlife Division helps people make informed choices that benefit both the environment and the city's bottom line. Engagement is not just about building awareness, it's a critical strategy for conservation and cost-effective park management, especially in an urban setting and especially during times of limited resources. Today, we'll explore how education and wildlife public engagement programs support environmental sustainability, economic efficiency, and long-term stewardship, and why continued investments in these programs is essential to the health of our parks in our city. For example, the Wildlife Unit's Raptor Nest Monitoring Program engages community members as citizen scientists, helping the city manage a flourishing population of urban raptors and informing integrated pest management strategies across parks. So in this past year, we have some Manhattan snapshots of this program. So we had a total of 21 community scientists from Manhattan sign up for the program, and that's 30% of our citywide total. And they monitored 18 nests across Manhattan. 30 juvenile raptors were successfully fledged in Manhattan, which is about 28% of the total for the city. And key outcomes include that it actively engages the public in community-based science. I'm sure there are people in the room here who know or are aware of some birders in your community and how excited people can become when a raptor visits their neighborhood or happens to nest there. And Rob, our ranger who's here as Angie Kwan, is often on the scene when a raptor is spotted in Manhattan. This also promotes a safer city for both raptors and wildlife and also people. It, as I said, it informs pest management strategies across parks. And one fun fact is that in Manhattan, a kestrel nest on the Upper West Side had 6 fledglings this year, which is a very high number. So excellent productivity in Manhattan. Here are some shots of our fledglings. Our Teaching and Learning Support Unit bridges classroom learning with real-world climate and sustainability work in New York City parks. Through a summer micro-credential teaching training program, teachers engage directly with agency experts to learn how park management intersects with climate resilience, stormwater management, biodiversity, and more. These teachers leave with tangible tools, lesson plans, and resources that they can use immediately, all grounded in New York City Parks work. And this has a multiplying effect. One teacher can reach hundreds of students per year with a deeper understanding of environmental stewardship. The visibility is growing. Last year alone, we shared parks programs and resources with more than 500 teachers at New York City DOE events, potentially impacting over 50,000 students of the future. This work supports a more informed public, boosts interest in green careers, and helps embed New York City's parks' role in climate education and urban resilience into the city's broader education ecosystem. We ran this program together with CUNY and brought teachers to sites all around the city, but we spent a really exciting day in Manhattan. Here's a photo of someone from our planning division speaking with teachers about the resiliency project along the East River at Corlier Hook Park. And then we have some other photos as well. Next, this is meeting with the teachers earlier that day in the park. And then later in the week, we took them on a tour of the roof garden at Randall's Island, where we have the largest municipal green roof, I believe, in the country, but it might just be in the city. And if any of you have not visited that, please let us know. We'd be happy to take you on a tour of the green roof there. Finally, our urban park rangers fostered stewardship for parks and the Parks Department through hands-on public engagement. The numbers presented here reflect far more than just attendance. They represent meaningful connections between New Yorkers and their urban natural spaces. Research and our experience show that when people connect with nature, they're more likely to care for it. Urban Park Ranger programs build that connection by providing tactile, memorable experiences using binoculars, meeting animals, and examining real biofacts. Every one of over 100,000 interactions across the city in 2024 is a step toward greater stewardship, environmental literacy, and civic responsibility. And here I've shared some numbers from 2024 throughout Manhattan, including over 5,000 visits to our relatively newly opened Inwood Hill Nature Center. Reopened, I should say, after Superstorm Sandy destroyed it. The Urban Park Rangers and all of education and wildlife are at the forefront of New York City Parks engagement strategy, bringing nature to the people and inspiring a lifelong respect for public parks. And we have some more photos of rangers engaging with the public through various types of programs. I tried to choose some examples from Manhattan.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's hard to tell where they are because they're in the forest, but as you know, there are wonderful forests in Manhattan, in Central Park and in Inwood Hill Park. And, you know, the rangers can lead a program in a tree pit, you know, on a street tree pit. This is a photo of the new programs we're leading at Hart Island, which I know is officially part of the Bronx, but a relatively new program that we have launched. And again, if anyone here is interested in learning more about that program, just reach out to us and we're happy to share. Thank you.
Commissioner Shimomura, turning it back to you.
I'm so glad, and thank you again, Public Programs, for joining us. Happy to take some questions, but I thought that maybe while I'd share that while we were doing Public Programs, while we were doing this presentation, one of the representative community boards in the room sent me a picture of their for the program, enjoying one of your wildlife programs.
Oh, wonderful. Can you share it?
Can you
Trish.
screen?
Trish.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Trish,
Is that-
I wanted to say she's 12 now, but your programming is amazing. Your wildlife programming is amazing.
Oh,
Trisha, that's funny you put that up. I can't believe you did that.
Python?
Yeah, that's a python. It was at the J. Hood Wright Rec Center.
Yes.
And it was one of your wildlife programs. And I have to tell you, I honestly think this is why she's not afraid of snakes. Like to this
I'm
day.
sure.
So it made a lasting impact. And Trisha, you're funny.
Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful.
Look, I mean, I want to just reiterate that you all know, you should have my contact information. You should have the contact information from at least our regional manager, if not our park manager as well. Everybody in the entire city knows Steve Simon, like it or for better or for worse. So really and truly, you have a lot of contacts when it comes to like park, like kind of park playground stuff. But I hope that you also build that same kind of relationship with Hakeem and Malika on our team. They are incredible, and they can really help connect folks with like additional resources over in the kind of recreation side. There's so many offerings. It's a really wonderful thing. My kids, even when we joined the Parks Department, realized that my kids should be members of our recreation centers and that sort of thing. And now every time it's cold outside, we get to go swim indoors at one of the incredible recreation centers that are Borough as well. So just really, there's kind of there's just like so much that I hope that the community boards can take back. If you would like us to come to any of your committee meetings, we already do. My staff should be at every single one of those meetings, but I'm also happy to come myself, or happy to ask Public Programs to come do another presentation that's more specific to your community board.
Thank you so much, Trisha. Any questions? Okay, we have a question here.
I have two for you, Trisha, and I promise I'll be gentle. When you do a lot of bird education, the Wild Bird Fund on the Upper West Side is one of the few places that do you do education through the system? Because we tend to find, at least down by CB1, we had a petrifying presentation by the Wild Bird Alliance this particular month in our environmental protection, how many bird strikes there are alone in our community was seriously petrifying. So I wonder what kind of education the Parks Department can or partners with to do with Wild Bird Fund. What do the public learn if they see a bird in the park that's injured or dead and things like that? That's one out of two.
Okay, I'll try to answer that if I can. And Ranger Rob, if you have anything to add after I answer, you can jump in. I see he was able to rename himself. So I think on one of the slides, I did share the number of wildlife rescues that the Rangers engaged in Manhattan in 2024. So Rangers are often on the front lines of responding to calls about injured wildlife, particularly if that's in a park. You're mentioning bird strikes. And so often bird strikes are not in a park because it's happening in, around an office building. But I do know that if it's a bird of special interest, Rob is often on the scene. So we are often the first line of rescue, and we transport to the Wild Bird Fund. and work very closely with them in terms of rehabilitation. And then happy to say release back in Manhattan. When I joined the Parks Department 25 years ago, rehabilitators often wouldn't allow us to re-release in Manhattan under a false assumption that it wasn't a safe environment. So we've really, through education, we've countered that notion with our rehabilitators so that we can re-release those animals in an area that's safe for them. It is true that bird strikes is a significant problem for birds in Manhattan. We work very closely with the New York Bird Alliance, formerly New York City Audubon, who has a large program to address bird strikes throughout Manhattan in particular and New York City in general. So I don't know if that answered your question in too much detail, but we do rescue and transport to the Wild Bird Fund and then work with the Wild Bird Fund to reintroduce into Manhattan parks. Rob, is there anything you would want to add about that in answer to the question?
I think you covered everything, yeah. And it's great to have a partner like Wild Bird Fund. And also rehabilitator Bobby Horvath. He's another great one for rapids too that we work with. As part of the rescues, get to release the rapids or model back into the parks. That's always the best feeling, you know.
Yeah, Rob's breaking up a little, but he mentioned another rehabilitator that we work with. And I will say on the education front, we do a ton of bird programs. So bird programs for students through our natural classroom program, weekend birding programs. We do really try to get the message out about what people should do if they see an injured bird. Sometimes a bird strike, a bird that has struck its head just needs to rest in a box and then is fine to fly. Sometimes that's not the case and they do need to go to the rehabilitator. So, we always encourage the public to call an expert, a ranger, rather than try to handle it on their own. I know there's also volunteers from the New York Bird Alliance that will respond to any bird strikes. But yes, educational messaging about birds is an important part of our programming.
And then Tricia, my second question is going to be really, and I'm sorry, it's a community board question. So
okay.
Okay. Since the passage of the cannabis laws by New York State, New York City is required to do a bill to set distancing from community rec centers and public youth facilities. To date, there is somebody in city council, again, due to laws, we don't know who, somebody has that bill. But we would hope that the Parks Department, in their efforts to, support public youth recreation centers, can help work with City Hall to get that bill onto the floor so we can actually set distancing requirements. Without it, next to any one of the rec centers that you have showed us, it is absolutely legal to open, as of today, a cannabis store right smack next door, because there's no distancing requirement. So anything that the Parks Department can do to request City Hall, talk to City Council, anything to protect the public youth facilities would be greatly appreciated, because from this end of the table, it's a big bad box.
Sure. So, definitely not a tough question here, because the answer is that we have a whole unit that's like kind of focused on tracking like policy, either proposals or city council hearings or things like that. I don't know where this one falls, but I'm happy to bring it back to the team. It's led by a guy named Matt Drury, who's been around the Parks Department for like 20 years. Happy to raise it with him, see where this lands, and see kind of where this is. I don't unfortunately know a lot about this one, but I'm happy to ask him and get a status update. Any update I get from him as to where it is, or if there's a council member who's leading it, yada yada yada. Happy to bring back to this group. So
awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Just a flat.
Right, so let's just go down the line. So 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Hi. 3 questions to go.
Everything's very impressive. We've worked closely with Trish on a number of projects and the team recently, but you show like a 100,000 swing in terms of participation in some of the programs, up and then back down and then up again. And I'm just wondering, is there any correlation to anything? Is that the 100,000 plus, is that due to more funds allowing you to provide more services, or, what explains the increases like that? Is it the programming? I think it's probably a combination. I mean, I think I'm not sure exactly which numbers you're referring to, but like on some of the post-COVID numbers, you know, it was a climb back, and also just balancing staffing, and it's a combination of like a lot of different things. I would defer to Chief Fontana, and Chief Amalade, Deputy Chief Green, if you have any particular comments about the trends you've seen in Manhattan. But we do our best to spread our resources out and be strategic about how we'll get, you know, the most participants. That's the goal with the best programming.
But would you say that your funding is consistent during that period, or have you, I mean, are you getting more people with the same amount of funds? I'm just.
I think she's referring to the Kids in Motion slide. It does show spring of, yeah, for $75,000 to $100,000 or 100,000 people in attendance can shift over the years. A lot of it boils down to weather. I mean, I don't want to blame everything on the weather, but like, you know, Kids in Motion is great for consistency, so we try to be there every day. But on rainy days, it just doesn't make sense. And you know, if it's really bad, we'll pull staff back in. Remember that summer where the sky turned orange? That was one of those incidents that we pulled back everybody from the outdoors, and it really hit our numbers because it, you know, erased basically an entire week. And that's good. I mean, we didn't want to like give kids an outlet to be outside when they're not supposed to be outside. So we led by example and pulled people indoors when we had to. But typically speaking, our staffing for seasonal stuff is pretty consistent. Most of our seasonal staff is city funded, and it hasn't really changed in a number of years. So we're not facing any shortfalls in the seasonal staffing right now, or at least nothing has changed.
Thank you.
I have two questions. One is the sports programming. What we're finding, or what we know, is that a lot, especially on the west side of Manhattan and maybe Manhattan in general, it's a lot of pay to play, right? So if you can afford soccer, if you can afford tennis, if you can afford whatever it is, and it's very expensive. We're talking kids as young as 4, 5, 6, $1,000 for like a season, and that's obviously prohibiting a lot of our low income children and families from participating in just general sports. We don't see an active or robust parks programming for athletics, at least in our district. I don't know if, Trish, if I'm missing that, or maybe it's more robust in the outer boroughs. But can you just, maybe we could talk offline about this too, since it's specific to our district, but I don't know if anyone else is finding that too.
Yeah, so in case anybody doesn't, Leslie didn't mention, but she represents Chelsea Hell's Kitchen area in like the West Village, or I guess a little higher, like West Side. Leslie, we can either, one is that we can come back to you with kind of like a specific like rundown of everything that's happening or not happening in your district and kind of reasons for that. But anybody else on the public program side want to talk about? I mean, I know that we have your district is really anchored by Chelsea Rec Center, and there's a lot that happens over in Chelsea Rec Center. Just like to, and while unless any public programs wants to jump in on this one, I'll just say that last year we had She's on Point happening at the Chelsea Rec Center, which is just a huge day focused on women in sport in general. And so it opens up the doors for all sorts of activities. It was an incredible day. I'm hoping that they go back to Chelsea Rec Center again this year. And so they do actually, I've seen a couple of programs that are happening on the west side and really through like that rec center, and not just open for rec center members, but kind of those larger programs. But we can also come back to you with a specific kind of like rundown of everything that's happening in your district.
That's great. Did you want, Tammy, you were going to follow up or not?
I would love to have the same opportunities because we have an expansion of indoor rec centers that are astoundingly expensive. Astoundingly.
Yeah.
So I would imagine, Trisha, you'll probably send us the slideshow so that we can share it out. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Two things really. One, I'll send you the slideshow. Two, you all know that we still have our kind of Vital Quirks portal where you can go online and look at, based on community board, a bunch of like statistics. But I actually don't know if like And I doubt that like this level of like programming is reflected there. So it may be something that we should take back to like the tech team to see if we can't do for it so that when you look at your like specific portfolio for board, you get that sort of offerings. That's a really smart idea. But I'm also happy to work with our public programs team to get you guys a specific kind of community board outlook of the things that are going on in your districts, which would obviously be helpful. So no problem.
Okay, terrific. So last question.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. And this is like Tammy, this is not a programming question. This is a community board question. But we have written, I think, a few letters now with our concern, Trish, about e-bikes and parks. Sorry, did I just bring up? The whole table groaned, so I apologize. And I know it's mostly CB7 with Central Park, but I know we covered that Oh, and yeah, you guys too. But and you guys too, okay. And we cover, CB4 covers that southwestern tip of it though, with the entry of Columbus Circle. But we have written letter how concerned we are with this administration in the parks about the willingness to allow e-bikes in parks. And we've gotten so much public feedback on this. I just don't know where you guys were at with this and if, you can give us any comments.
Well, right now, I think we just finished up a year-long pilot of e-bikes in the park system. I think that the agency has indicated that it's kind of moving towards a rule change here, a permanent rule change on this, but I don't have any more of a status update. I definitely hear it though. We definitely receive these comments. And so what I will say is that the agency also has, and I'm happy to share it in a link. I'm going to make a note to myself so I can remember to do this. But if you're seeing particularly like pinch points, and I walk through Central Park every single day, twice a day, because I live on 72nd Street on the east side, I work on the west side. And so I see some of those pinch points too. We've created a kind of drop down map where you can actually put down a map of where you're seeing particular like concerning hotspots. And then the map then goes to like our PEP officers and others to try to do some additional enforcement measures in those like kind of pinch point locations. And so I'm happy to share that with you. It also has just like an open-ended like space for additional comments. All of your resolutions, all of the concerns are coming in. We're definitely passing them along to those who are involved in this kind of either either the pilot or the eventual rule change on this one. But I do recommend using this little map. I've even used it myself, and it's for any space where bikes are allowed, and you can like put down and just flag that these are like particularly concerned locations. So let me make sure that I send that over to you all when I send over the slides.
That would be great. And then last question.
So you answered the first one, Trish, and thanks for everything. This is more kind of, I've heard some of the commentary, but pinch point would be 102nd entrance, 102nd Street right there on the east side. Any of the light intersections as you traverse across to the similar, they just don't stop at the lights at all. I'm 200 pounds, 6'3", and I've seen kids almost get struck, and I've seen people hit in those intersections as well. So just that, and also to the same comment about the fields and the permits. It's tough socioeconomically. I think the other question is, what can we do better when it comes to dog excrement and getting that picked up? They used to give tickets back in pre-pandemic for that happening, and they've since stopped. But it's a real issue because people let the dog, and I'm a big dog lover, as you know, big time. But they let them onto the ball fields as well, off lead. And, the liability is then on the owner if anything happens. But when the dog's foul in Central Park, especially, it closes the field for the kids, even when they have permits. So, I mean, what can we do to up? I mean, it's an issue we've raised numerous times, but I think we may have to revisit giving fines again.
So we do, PEP does give out summonses, but our kind of policy is always education first. So you're right in that, like for somebody who's like leaving like dog excrement on the ground, if PEP sees that happening, our kind of first response would probably be education, like hey buddy, like you got to clean up after your dog sort of thing. And then we'd have to see them again do it, or they'd have to like very blatantly be disregarding instructions before a summons was given on this. I just yesterday had a meeting with PEP and talked about the Great Lawn in Central Park. And I should also precurse all of this, spikes and everything else, by saying that obviously a big partner here is Central Park Conservancy, which is has a longstanding agreement with the Parks Department to maintain and oversee the Central Park. So we do everything kind of in partnership over there. So one is that when it comes to Central Park, I'm happy to bring this back to flag them. They also have their own kind of like educational unit now, where they also have additional people out there telling people about the rules and that sort of thing. If there are hot spots when it comes to dog excrement, like I said, I just talked about this yesterday about the Great Lawn. So can also flag additional spots, can make sure that that's on everybody's radar. We have had some success, actually one in Leslie's district just last spring, but we had some issues with people at JJ Walker who were coming out early mornings, letting their dogs off leash in this field, and it was driving everybody bananas. And so what we worked with our PEP team was like a real blitz. We have a very limited supply of PEP officers. You've probably heard this a million different times. But we can and what we've generally found to be successful is if we know that there's a persistent issue in a very specific location, we can try to do like a blitz of like very dedicated presence of PEP every single day for a series of days. Not all day, but like we know that dog walkers are normally in the mornings or in the early evenings. And so we're able to target it. We were able to like have PEP there every single day. And it kind of breaks people's habits of thinking that this is a consistently easy space for me to let my dog off leash and just, poop all over the place and like keep on going. And so in those cases, we were able to do like a little bit of a blitz in Leslie's district. It was extremely successful. We issued something like 45 summonses in a 2-day period. It was very successful. And does it get rid of the issue completely? No. People have habits. Frankly, we don't have an equitable distribution of dog runs across the city. People are going to have a lot of dogs. They're unfortunately going to do it. But we do kind of like curb it a little bit at a more manageable level. So I'd say like if there's specific areas in your districts where you think like, yes, there's like just a consistently problematic situation. Looking at Kathy Diaz, we've got the same thing sometimes happening at Bennett Park uptown. We have a lot of people who left their dogs off leash, and it's honestly the dog owners who get a little kind of rough with staff and that sort of thing. When we have those issues, we'll coordinate with PEP to see if there's an opportunity for us to do like a real blitz. I will say that in the wintertime, you'll see less of it because it gets colder outside. And so I'd say like, let's keep in contact. If there's a situation where we need to go in the wintertime, we can try to coordinate something. But we can also like try to increase signage. We can look around to see if there's other like ways that we can just kind of protect some of these spaces that can get overrun either by dog feces or just by dogs that should be, not in horticulture beds or things like that.
Yeah, I'll give you right. 96th Street transfers to 102nd Street. From there, that entire swath from east to west it's constantly dogs off lead and fouling. So that's just to flag it for everyone. Thank you so much, Rich.
So thank you. I just want to take the opportunity, Commissioner Shimamura, Paul, Sarah, Emily, Kareem, Malika, and Ranger Rob. And the Department of Parks in general. I live up near some beautiful parks, up in Washington Heights and Inwood. And so I know that the work you do is taxing and continuous. So we are extremely grateful. Look forward to getting the slides and also the links so that the CBs can actually, go and find out what programs are available in their specific areas. Thank you so much for being here, and we wish you the best.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. So we're going to continue with our meeting. For the record, I just want to note that we have all 12 community boards present now in the meeting. So we're going to move to chair reports. I'm going to ask you in the interest of respecting everyone's time, let's keep the comments and all the reports relevant to things that would be of benefit to all of us that are sitting here. And since it's November, I'm going to start with CB 11.
Thank you very much, Porfirio. First, want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Regardless, I have just been notified I have a sick child I got to go pick up, so get him to the pediatrician. So, let's start with the news. We had our elections this Tuesday because of the changes in the bylaws in the city charter. Myself and 7 others are term limited per the city charter. We used to allow 3 terms, but because changes weren't done in the bylaws, to adjust everything to be in alignment with the start date of when you're appointed. So April 1 through March 31st. City law advised us that our bylaws need to say specifically, whether or not you're eligible for reappointment, but the rule of reason stated that we would not be able to complete the term, and thus we had to have elections. And it was a good night, I would say, for a lot of people. For others, not so much. But the message was we still have to come together because there's a lot of work to be done. So Dem Breha is our new chair starting January 1. He may or may not be on listening online. Jose Altamirano is our vice chair, both longtime board members, very well versed and have chaired and sat on many committees. Rosa Diaz is our secretary, and our treasurer is Derek Stampon. So you will start seeing those names coming here to attend, and I will be helping with that transition. And they've asked myself and both Nilsa, the former chair, to stay involved as much as we can do to help guide and transition of knowledge. We've had a lot of issues going on with public safety. We've had housing tours at a lot of our public housing. It's been very well received by the tenant associations, Johnson Houses. They're now starting to get action. We've been tracking down those that are engaged with the RAD PAC, which is the conversion. They've not been so happy, but things are getting done, and we're staying on top of it. And the mere presence of us doing a walkthrough, they're actually NYCHAs, and those management companies are showing up and getting the work done right away. We still have a lot of issues on 116th Street when it comes to substance abuse, as well as 125th Street. That has been flagged, has continued to be addressed. Unfortunately, with the public safety issue, Santiago's Beer Garden had caught fire last night, burned down, as well as a tenement building. I think there were 170 plus firefighters. It was a 4-alarm fire. It is speculated that a trash can, this is just secondhand eyewitness, that a trash can caught fire, but everything was destroyed. The owner is okay, but they had a lot of donations for Thanksgiving, and they don't think they're going to be able to deliver on that now, which is a very sad thing. We're deeply upset. It's been open for 8 years, and it was a pretty strong institution for that time. The other items, talked about parks already. So let's see, what was the other things that we've addressed? Yeah, we're doing a lot of onboarding. We are also continuing with our bylaws revision to get them up to date, to be in alignment with all things city charter. And next month will be my last Borough Board as official chair, and I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's not farewell or goodbye. It's just transitioning to a different role. But thank you for all your service, and I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go tend to sick child now. Sorry, everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll go to CB12.
Finding my mute. Yes, sorry. Finding my unmute. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I really wanted to, but today's also, I think transitions are the theme right now for the season. But our district manager's last day is December 1st. He is retiring, and so today's the last DSC meeting that he will have. And so I'll be there in person for him. And the rest of the agencies. Right now our big focus, and I think kind of similar to maybe some other boards, is hiring. So our DM is stepping down by the 1st, and I am termed out as of December 31st. And so we're also transitioning new elected officers. So it's we're hoping we can have somebody in place for DM. We just started our interviews. I'm happy. We don't actually, unlike other folks, have like a personnel committee, but happy to share kind of any of the tools that we've been using, or any kind of like questions with folks who are also hiring DMs. Been learning a lot in the process as well. So we're there. We're also working on really organizing some key points. So in terms of just the transitions of we've also had several committee chairs who will also be transitioning, and I don't think it necessarily has to do so much with the term limits, but just part of time. And I think last month folks were talking about like that chair and vice chair composition in terms of folks who are early in their tenure or later in their tenure. So those are really things that we're kind of like building up for starting in January. And I'm trying to see, I think I had one more thing that was relevant to everyone. I forgot, but yeah, but we're having our like holiday party in December. Partially also Ebenezer's retirement celebration. So all of your district managers are invited, and it's hopefully in their inboxes already. So hopefully they can all make it. You know, as he had nearly 20 years of service to community boards. So you know, I think it's a monumental kind of shift that we're really prepping for. And I'll pause there.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're gonna miss Ebenezer.
Yeah.
I'll be at that party.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, then it's CB1.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Happy November. And for the month of Thanksgiving, I want to say first and start by saying I am so grateful to every person that I have met around this table, and grateful for when we agreed and when we didn't agree, didn't make a difference. I have learned so much from being a chair, from what's going on in the other districts, that the connectivity is the most important thing for being a chair, not only in Manhattan, but listening. So to the staff at the Borough Board, and the staff in the office and everybody, it's really been amazing. Yeah, I've been in the chair a little bit. This is my last year, but I've got 6 months left, so I'll still be there. CB1's been quite busy. The biggest thing to announce is that we have a Canal Street redesign meeting. The CBs 1, 2, and 3 have all bonded together to get coordinated with DOT. That'll be Monday, the 24th. If you need a flyer, if you want to come, we would love anybody who works or lives or is part of a community around Canal Street to come, so we can try and hear from both sides of the street. It's a unique street in Manhattan because one side of the street is CB1, the other side of the street is either 2 or 3. And so we really don't want to be having individual meetings that I say, well, gee, I think we should do this, and shoving a problem left or right. We need to do a holistic plan and hear from everybody, because what I think might work great on Spring Street, because I don't necessarily want it in CB1 as an individual, somebody in CB2 might say, no, we don't like that. So that's the 24th. It will be a hybrid meeting, and we will have translation as well. So I encourage everybody to come. That's the most important thing.
So we get that as well.
I will send it to you today. I wanted to say Downtown Alliance, which is the one bid we have that's primary to CB1, celebrated its 30th anniversary. They had an event at the board meeting this week. Most important thing I find beyond the work that they do as a business district is they've been successful in the year and taking 210 homeless people off the street into housing. Okay, that's a big number. It performs better than some shelters do. So it's something that, you know, maybe we should start looking at modeling and seeing how they're doing it, what they're doing it, and see if we can replicate that across the city, because they are incredibly successful with it. Yeah, 210. So I was at Hudson River Park Advisory Council last night, and the really fun thing that I learned there was that the Hudson is now swimmable. So interesting, you know, obviously you have to have programs, it has to be in specific locations, but that is something that.
Let's go, Tim. Let's do it.
Now you can go kayaking. That's as close as I go to the.
I'm coming to that one just to do the video.
Governor's Island came this month and gave an incredible presentation on the climate center. They are doing both modern and historic renovations of Liggett Hall. It's going to be an incredible asset to New York City when it's done. We had an update of a 1-year anniversary from 105 Washington, which was the very highly controversial shelter that opened in our district. It has housed and placed around 200 people inside overnight. Again, getting more people off the street is amazing. And I'm delighted to say that they are finally at a priority for homeless people in Lower Manhattan, which is what we were asking for. So those are all really good things. It is a busy month. We are talking about legislation that is up for public hearings. On Monday, Community Board 1 does not understand at all why you would want to shrink pedestrian spaces to give them to restaurants. And we have said this before, we fight to ensure that there is clear path. We have tiny, narrow streets. We don't have like this midtown giant grid everywhere. Reducing clear path does not enhance the public, the general public realm, where it's too tight to get down the streets. And we say this from a highly touristed location with narrow streets. There's nothing about this that we would like to do. And I encourage everybody and anybody, the public hearing is on Monday, please show up. And then we don't understand the other thing, and that if I was having dinner and the two of us went out to dinner and I had a little bit too much to drink and I tripped in the outdoor dining, the restaurant would no longer be liable under the new bills. The city would be for roadbed and sidewalk. I don't think that the taxpayers, the general taxpayers, and again, we'll discuss it. I'll be curious to see how our board rules on this, but taxpayers versus individual operators is a strange question for us. We live in weird times. We hope that we can move forward. And with that, I'll close.
And just one comment on that. I mean, we're Midtown, we disagree with it as well. Like, it's not, I think every sidewalk's, public space. But the problem we had is we don't have a chance to do a resolution on this before the hearing. And I think it's a really common problem among all our boards. We don't know where it came from. Like, it's sort of, we managed to hear about it.
We added it to our executive, which is tonight. We will do, because executive oftentimes can, in the summer, subs for full board. We'll take a full vote and then we'll be able to provide testimony on Monday for it.
We understand that we really can't do that. So maybe that's just a misunderstanding our board has. The feeling is that it has to pass full board. So
the way, I'll show you what our bylaws say, because
we're like you, we can do exec and then ratify.
Yeah.
And that's just
The
what your
full board
bylaws.
still has to vote on it after the fact.
I mean,
But
absolutely.
we've done the same.
Yeah.
So that's not a charter.
Well, you have to be sure that that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. You have the opportunity, if for some odd reason it doesn't ratify, and I've never seen it pass exec and not, that you can withdraw your testimony.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the fact that they keep also characterizing it as speeding up the process, but they still didn't touch the 40-day notification, which is what screws all of us in terms of these approvals. So I mean, I was gonna testify that, if they were really thinking about the process, that they would have fixed that, and they didn't touch it.
The other thing that this goes to the borough president. We fight for public restrooms left, right, and center. When you're expanding the footprint, there's no actual mechanism. So it's one bathroom per 75 people. If you have one bathroom because your restaurant is only 50 people, but you then add 100 people for outdoor dining, you're not required to have another bathroom. Okay, that's a done deal. But the new rules allow grocery stores and food warehouses that don't have anything, like just a warehouse, to do outdoor areas as well, but they have no public facilities. So how are they allowed to serve food on the public sidewalk if they're not already, they have no public facilities like bathrooms? A grocery store may or may not, but food warehouses don't.
The Department of Health has guidance that says 20 seats or more. It does require for a restroom for outdoor dining. That guidance does exist, but you're right, it's incomplete.
But
Duly noted.
There's a problem because it's 20 seats or more for outdoor dining, but if you're looking at so I'm gonna have 19 seats and I'm gonna be a food warehouse and I will have serving everything and I will have not one.
We've been
And there's no clear path, there's no service aisles include, flying the plane while serving drinks and putting it together.
I'm sorry, can I?
Go ahead, Catherine.
No, yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier. This week, was it this week? Yeah, this week I met with the new Manhattan Borough Commissioner for DOT. I'm spacing on her name, but she's been at DOT for a while. I'm sorry?
Danielle Zuckerman.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's made her rounds with all of you, but if not, I brought up the dining out program, in trying to communicate what some of the challenges are in our district. But if you all have not met with her, that's something that should happen, and I'm happy to put that on the radar, and share contact information.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to
Thank
CB2.
Okay, great. Hi, Valerie Del Rosa. CB2. So just really quickly, we have 2 board members that are resigning this month. Brand Rossler and Zach Kazaz. They have moved out of the district and don't meet the other 2 criteria for maintaining their memberships. And then for outdoor dining, we actually do have a lot of past positions on many of the bills, such as the transfer of the agency, as well as I think we do address the restroom issue as well. Anyway, so we have a resolution before us tonight that we voted on at exec on Tuesday, and this is regarding the perimeter demarcation for sidewalk cafes with a single row of 2 tops. So we are actually have a resolution that'll go before our full board tonight that would exempt sidewalk cafes consisting solely of a single row of 2 top tables, 1 table with 2 chairs, placed directly against and parallel to the building facade, as long as it meets both ADA and clear path requirements. We're actually asking for those sidewalk cafe setups to be exempt from having to have the perimeter demarcation, which is to have it enclosed off. It actually creates more impediment to the clear path. And it's most in the spirit with how a lot of where these end up are on our narrowest streets. And it ends up just creating more of an obstruction. And a lot of the times, so we hear so many operators that come and they say, like, I just want 1 or 2 tables because their building facade is that small. And they just want it to have so that people can know that they're open. They're not a large frontage, and it's in a small, quiet area. So that's going to be before our full board tonight. We think it's going to help our small businesses and also reduce some of the bureaucracy and of having to deal with managing and the enforcement of those when we have larger problems that can be addressed. So we have that's going before us tonight, and we will be testifying about that at the hearing on Monday, as well as other positions that we have. And then the last part of my report is that we're starting to see this an emergence of zoning challenges for as of right development that are related to City of Yes and that are not. And regarding that, the zoning law has been misapplied, or plans don't meet specific parts of the zoning resolution, such as street wall requirements that change the shape of the building and whatnot. So we're seeing that at 5 West 13th, and then we're seeing a zoning challenge at St. Luke's Church in regards to the zoning plan, master plan that they have, the master plan that they have on file does not provide the required open space. There's a residential component that the church owns that's next to.
So are you making the challenge, or who's making the challenge?
We are not making the challenge. We are not making the challenge. We've had individuals come to us saying, hey, I read the zoning law, I found this, and it was kind of like, okay, we're not the enforcement there. This is a DOB.
But are you gonna make a filing?
We've not heard anything on, like, there's a website now for the St. Luke's Church. They've created a website on the other one on West 13th.
Okay.
On the West 13th, they've hired a consultant to show the plans and whatnot. And so that was filed through Village Preservation.
I see.
And, but we are looking to invite the developer and the one who's Village Preservation or the resident who's behind, residents that are behind this, to have a forum to have a discussion on it. But it is possible that if this does get appealed by DOB, it would be formally referred to us, so we wouldn't have a position coming out of that forum, if that makes sense,
Okay.
because it could then come back to us formally. That's it. Thanks.
Okay. Great. CB3.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'll keep it short this month. We had a lot going on our Parks Committee. this month. I'll just highlight a few things we've been up to. We had a playground schematic design that we're moving into, so we've been liaising with parks and making sure that we have adequate kind of input. That same park, Sarah Roosevelt Park, which I speak a lot about, has also been, we've been tracking a lot of safety and usage concern, not just on the parks committee, but also through the NST, the neighborhood support team that we won. So we met with Ray Carrero from the mayor's office to go over some of those items that we're still looking for, lighting upgrades, outreach programming, and enforcement coordination. We are losing our parks manager, Luke, who was excellent. He's just being reassigned. But everyone on our committee was very sad to see him go. He's been a great resource for us, but we'll be looking forward to whoever's replacing him. We also, like the borough president's office, we did a lot of coordination responding to the SNAP benefit issues and the shutdown that happened this month. Our community district is home to dozens and dozens of food providers, so a lot of us came together and tried to coordinate meeting the needs of our community. And our board especially worked on working with the Hospitality Alliance to get grants for local restaurants to provide food to our community. Our Tech Hub cab also is circulating a scholarship fund for workforce development groups that can provide training for our community in District 3. And then as a small reminder, I'll follow up, but as part of the agreement, the Tech Hub is supposed to provide 52 free community uses to any entities or organizations within Council District 2, which includes a little bit of CB5 and CB6. So we'll make sure to that we circulate that so that the community knows that that's available. And we're continuing to do, last month I spoke a little bit about updating our timelines and our committee handbooks. So that's happening at the committee level, and all of our committees are continuing to work on how to plan for term limits at the committee levels. So that's going well. And then the last piece is we have elections next week. I am running for re-election. I expect to win, so I'll see you all next.
Would you share the committee handbooks with us on that?
Yes, it might take some time.
No, I'm patient.
It's very ongoing.
Sounds good.
Happy to.
All right, moving on to CB4.
Great, thank you. Tammy, can you share? I'm sorry. What are you gonna say?
I said thank you for being here, because I
Yeah.
know you stepped in at the last
Thank you.
minute.
Tammy, can you share just some points with the outdoor dining that you said that you were concerned with me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. We're just gonna go over 2 points, 2 big major projects that I think I was here a few months ago saying that we're filled with major projects, but one that might affect some of you guys down the road is our NYCHA redevelopment. We have a very, very well-attended community project, NYCHA redevelopment. It's Fulton and Chelsea Elliott Housing. So what this is they're converting, it's going public-private, as some of you know, which is always very dicey. And there's a lot of community engagement in it. Now that the pedal is hitting the metal, and they're actually giving notices for people to leave. We're finding, obviously, without surprise, there are a lot of problems with that. There are a lot of seniors. There are a lot of people who don't speak English. There are a lot of threats. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people that are afraid they're going to lose their homes. So we're trying to mitigate that. But I think the big thing is that there is a rush to finance this project by December 31st, which obviously coincides with the administration change. We probably think that is a extremely quick timeline for NYCHA conversion. So we are really in the middle of that. And
Is this the one where the seniors were
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of court cases. Some were dismissed, some are going back and forth. So there are some seniors in a senior building who have refused to relocate right now, and 16 have been served and taken to Supreme Court. So as you can imagine, it's a very, very, very emotional situation. And the papers state if they don't comply, they will be subject to financial penalties or jail time. So as you can imagine, NYCHA residents are very, very nervous about that. And anyway, so the change project is to convert 500 apartments out of 2,056 to Section 8 without any renovation. The consequences for the NYCHA tenants who don't sign the Section 8 leases will be liable for market rents, which is another big scare tactic. I don't know if it's a scare tactic, but it's scary nonetheless.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, we are trying to handle this in a very shortened timeline, which is what we perceive as just not reasonable. For 2 months to change all this in nature. I mean, we've had parks that have gone over, 3 years that have had more community input than some of this. So that's what we're involved in right now. The second one is our Manhattan Cruise Terminal. I don't know if you guys saw, but the EDC, even though that whole west side of Hudson River is really Hudson River Park Trust, there is a piece of land or an area of that's controlled by the city and EDC, and that is the Manhattan Cruise Terminal where the cruise ships come in, and they just released on last Thursday the master plan for that, meaning they're going to renovate the whole thing, or they want to renovate the whole thing. They're including shore power, which we have fought for many, many years, and electrifying that cruise terminal. We want open park space. A lot of that, the riverfront has been closed off since 9/11 to any public access whatsoever. They included that. The one thing that's a little sticking point with this right now is they're asking for a WRDA exemption. What WRDA is they want to elongate the piers to accommodate mid-size, larger cruise ships, which are considered mid-size, actually, not even the really large one, the mid-size one. And that goes into the federal navigable waterways. So they have to get an exemption from Congress. So there's a lot going on with that, but that's going to be, I'm sure you'll hear more from us on Manhattan Cruise Terminal, which might actually touch some of you guys up there, not your border, but your people, your peeps. So anyway, those are the two big things. I don't want to go on, but those are the two main things that we're dealing with right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
CB5.
Yeah, hi. So as I said, I'm Yaron, the vice chair. I'm going to keep this quick. I had a couple things, but I'll just focus on one. We've been talking a lot about the hotel special permit, which for those who don't know, was something that went into effect in 2021. Effectively, sort of new construction hotels couldn't be built as of right. They all needed a CPC permit that required full ULURP. We believe as a board, this has created some unintended issues, especially in our district. We are Midtown Manhattan, we have Broadway, we have museums, we want people to have an affordable hotel room to stay in. And the hotel room prices continue to go up and up and up. It is very concerning for us as we are the central business district of Manhattan. So what we did was we looked at the newly rezoned Midtown South, and we're really trying to advocate for the hotel special permit to be rethought and thinking about, are there areas of the Midtown South rezoning on sites particularly that would not be suitable for residential. This is what's hard. We need to balance residential and hotels, that some of those sites could be exempted from the full ULURP. And we made other recommendations about how the special permit needs to be fixed, but we're very concerned about that. So more on that soon. Otherwise, we have two fellows from the Fund of the City of New York who are coming to work with us. We've had great success with this in the past to look at assessing our public spaces with Midtown South. very excited to have 10,000 units of residential coming to us. Where are those people gonna hang out? We are crunched for public open space in Midtown Manhattan, and so we're gonna do a full assessment of our POPs and other public spaces to see how they're being kept, how are they maintained, what needs to be, looked at, changed, all of that, because we don't have a survey of that. They're just sort of around. So we're very excited to have that. And we just had elections as well for the second time in 5 months, because we are moving our election cycle from June to November. But now it will be annual from November.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Has HTC chimed in with you guys?
About
Hotel Trade Council?
Yeah. So
I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I mean, their engagement with us, we would have liked to have engaged more with them. Have open public meetings, and so we are going to continue to try to engage with them. But the engagement hasn't been as.
I mean, have they given you a position?
No.
No, gotcha.
Okay, CV6.
I'm happy to share, we did a POPs review.
Oh, great.
So we have some assets in
Oh, I
archives.
would love to see that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Give me a call, I'll run you through what we did.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's great. Perfect.
We had a planning fellow look at our POPs as well.
Oh, great. So it's the same project. Okay, great.
We can certainly share that.
Yeah.
So CV6, we had our elections and we did not fill one of the positions. But
Really?
it was assistant secretary and nobody wants to be the secretary. So.
Much less.
We had 4 people run for 3 positions.
We
As a former
somebody who
secretary.
wants to be a secretary.
I was a secretary.
Me too.
Good job.
Me too. I like the secretary.
Well, they actually have to do.
Keeps you busy, that's true.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the positions we just filled, we really didn't have much. So, one big thing, OCM gave a license to a location that we had strong objections to using the previous rules. And they said that they're going to be using the previous rules, I believe, until February. And so there's a whole batch that were approved at the last OCM.
That's not what the law said. The law said that they were supposed to go immediate.
That's what's in.
Wait, for what? Say that again, I'm sorry.
OCM. License.
Oh.
They recognized they made a mistake and they said from that point forward.
Just one mistake?
And I mean, we gave a really robust reason why this shouldn't be located
I know.
in our district at this location. And it's so frustrating. It's really, really annoying. So we're gonna, we'll keep pressing to try and see. I'm sure they've given the license, so I don't know.
You should talk to, right, Val? You talked to Mar?
I was like.
Mar's been all over that. this.
Yeah, we've spoken
Okay,
to
yeah,
Mar
Yeah, okay.
a lot.
I assume so, yeah.
We're also creating chairs and committee handbooks. And I recommended that our committee chairs reach out to other boards. So, I mean, we can do that officially through district managers, or if they just contact their fellow.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's okay.
That'd be good for everybody, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna really try and do that. And that's it for us.
Don't cry when you hear stuff.
All right, moving on to CV7.
Hey, yeah, we're also hiring a district manager again, so that will be interesting. We have a slight bylaws controversy, if it will. What often happens in committee meetings is people say, okay, does everyone want to vote on this preservation issue? And the resolution is basically going to say, we approve it and we like this fenestration, blah, 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 but nothing is written down.
Yeah.
And then a vote happens, and then, the co-chair types it up and says, does everyone agree? And a bunch of people don't feel comfortable with this because they feel that the code, what am I voting on? It's very kind of unclear. It's verbally said. And then they point to pieces in OAL that suggest that something should be written. And we've suggested that should happen. So for instance, for West Park Church, a resolution was posted on our website beforehand, which then was in many different newspapers saying the community board has already made their decision up, which we said no, and it says in the resolution, draft. But so it seems very confusing to people, there's some people who are very passionate that when we vote on something, it should be written. I should be able to see it on the screen. And there's some people that said, for 30 years, we've been voting on, do you all agree in kind of what I'm saying? So this is, I'm somewhat interested to see what others do.
There are two schools of thought. You
Yeah.
cannot, it is against the charter to bring, and Robert's rules and everything, to
Yeah.
bring a fully baked thing into the community board because that is not allowing the members of the community to discuss it. So sometimes we have people who like draft bullet points because you can't draft a full resolution. But what we do is we go over, because it's all on YouTube now, so it's very easy. So we say, okay, this is the resolution. Here is what we're voting on. This is what here are the points A, B, C, and D. This is what the therefore be it resolved is.
So you verbally say it.
We verbally say it in the meeting and we discuss it, and then it gets typed up and written. Anything that comes to the table at full board, if it doesn't match what's on the YouTube, anybody from the committee can question it and things like that. But that's why we have the YouTube, is we go over it and we say, okay, we agree with, we go around, and so we like the burgundy, the short, the shorter finials, whatever it is. It's very important to get the details, and then it's on record.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And we actually sometimes do two resolutions if it's, one for, one against. But unless it's time sensitive, you have to discuss it in committee and then pass it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And so that allows people to.
Some people are suggesting that we should have, either two resolutions or throw up the Google Drive doc, say what the item is, someone write it down. It doesn't have to be perfect verbiage. So that way I can see a visual on the screen, what am I voting for? But again, some people feel that this is gonna be very cumbersome, so. Yeah,
I don't know, maybe we are doing this wrong for 30 years, but everything that comes before the full board is a resolution that's drafted up in our committee.
It's drafted in committee and written after committee, and it's ready for full board.
Yeah. So
that's the same thing we're saying, but you should. In
24
committee,
hours
people
out.
are voting on something.
In committee.
That they don't understand it.
Well, I mean, but they have an opportunity everybody has an opportunity to chime in between the committee meeting and the full board.
Right, you mean like on email?
Yeah,
but then some people say that's not OAL specific, because that's not public.
We don't allow people, you can't so for example, we had a landmarks meeting already last Thursday. Okay, so it's a week later. All the resolutions from landmark will be posted more than 24 hours prior to the full board. If you weren't at the meeting, you have to read the resolution. You can ask whatever questions you want. We can make minor adjustments if it matches what the committee is said, right? If not, then we have to send it back to committee.
Yeah.
But we don't allow anybody to change anything by email after. No, you can't change votes. You can clarify, but you can't change substance.
It seems like everyone is dealing with similar.
I mean, it drives me nuts when there's not resolutions to read and draft and edit, strike in a committee meeting in general. Like that's always it's just not been our board. Not all committees, but there are some that do draft them for the committee meetings. But
if you're talking about a legislation, you can have all your whereases in there. Right? If you're talking about historical knowledge from your board, that's easy to have there, but you can't put in your advocacy positions as fully baked, because then you're denying the public and the board members the opportunity to opine.
We're different, we're different, we don't draft anything before committee. Never.
We have
we
one.
don't draft, so what we would do is that, say that whatever the topic is, and there's a presentation in committee. And then whoever's gonna write the letter, usually the chairs, but not always, sometimes someone else will be designated to write the letter. We vote on the points of okay, these are the points, boom, 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 boom. You can talk about discussion, this is what we agree on, this, and then the person writes the letter. And then that letter will be in the Dropbox before full board, and you can take any edits to the letter. But usually the position in committee is already kind of solidified. It's just the wording might be changed.
We will debate endlessly on wording. Does it say that e-bikes should never be allowed in Central Park? Strongly advised not allowed? Temporarily, we'll debate endlessly on.
I would say there are two schools of thought, right? That changes over time depending on how hot the topic is. We have a split board on many different topics, and there are some people who would like to have really strong.
Right.
And if it already says, highly,
Right.
rarely ever, to change that to never,
Right.
no biggie. And if that's the consensus at the room, it's so close that you could put something in committee and then say, listen, if we feel it needs to be a little bit stronger or a little bit, you can, we can do that at the full board, because you do want to try and move it along. The hard thing is it's really about chair training, committee chair training. And with this, we're going to also be making committee changes, and it's really hard. You have to start with term limits. You have to start to try and train people. And that's going to be the hardest thing looking ahead in the next 5 years, is having people who understand how to make to consensus and how to learn how to run the meetings, because there's not a lot of, you're finding people like the boards that have had half the people leave. I think that's tough. Right? I'm going to say.
Yeah, in real time, having someone designated maybe on the dais that has like an open, I'm a keynote person, but maybe Google Slides, where when those somebody comes off the floor with an amendment, they can text it and you can get it up on the screen. I think that's very effective, because the like sometimes they're quite lengthy, or just showing, okay, now what would it look like? Not the Google Drive. I'm really hesitant of sharing any sort of screen of a Google Drive folder setup or Google Drive document, not even because people are gonna like type the URL, but because then they know what to ask for or within our drive, like especially like the folders and whatnot. It's all
Take that one.
Yeah, just because you never know what's
It might be interesting, and I'm bumming that we're in November, the last, month. But maybe we'll have to take this up in January. Maybe, it would be great to have a different training session that veteran board members come with new board members from a variety of different, and have it be like a workshop session, which is board to board. So it unplugs the, so-and-so's been on this board for 20 years and that's why they want it. It's different if it comes from other board members. Like if Vic says something, I don't know Vic's backstory, I'm just sitting next to him in a meeting and Vic says, hey, well, this is how we do it. It comes off a little bit less,
personal.
Yeah.
I made a note of that just for the next year. It's a very great suggestion and something that I've actually been thinking about a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have.
As we select new members, that you really iterate that it's about consensus. It's not about your personal, that it's, and I think quite often the training, it's like, how do you spend this much money? And it seems to imply that we have that power.
Yeah, we try to address that one in implicit bias, So, yeah.
The other thing that people don't understand is we're completely advisory. New members, I have found, when they get appointed and they figure that out after they've spent years sometimes complaining that the community board didn't do, I've had people quit.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is advisory, so why are we even here? It's a very rough thing. We are advisory, but we are the advocacy arm for the people, for the communities. So it's about trying to realize that it's about not I, but we as a general district.
That's been tough lately.
Yes, very.
Influence definitely is
So
can be interchanged in that word.
Exactly.
So let's move on to CBA.
CBA. Oh, so much happening. We had our elections last night, and I ran unopposed. I don't know if that's because I was doing a good job or because nobody wants the job. But anyway, so I was reelected. My first vice chair and my second vice chair were reelected. But we had a very contested election for our secretarial positions, and it was really close. So I mean, the good news is that people want to get involved in the executive committee, so it's all good. And we are in the first month of our new DM, which we were very lucky. We found somebody and he's hit the ground running, and that's great. But I did want to mention something that never occurred to me, and I'm not sure whether maybe the borough president's office should have a training session about the runnings of the board, but our DM had been with us for 7 years and apparently has accrued a tremendous amount of vacation time that I am trying to now understand how we're going to pay for. Because apparently it's supposed to come out of my budget, which we cannot roll money forward. So we were supposed to hire a new community liaison, and now we can't hire a new community liaison until OMB figures out how much money we, not them, needs to pay.
Yeah.
So I, and apparently there's no, I don't, honestly, I don't understand why that's my problem.
We went through that with our longstanding DM, and we could not hire, we had to wait many months till we could hire. We did have to pay out a pretty large amount.
Well, where does the money come from?
Comes from you.
Yeah, but you can't accrue the money you can't accrue the liability like you would in a pension fund going forward.
I should connect you with Janine Kiley, who was the chair during that time.
Right, but I don't think that's a chair's I don't think that's a chair's responsibility.
Oh, no, I'm saying, but like the exacts of how we met.
What?
You sign off on the timesheet.
Yeah, but I mean, first of all, I think that's ridiculous.
I know.
Okay, I've got somebody who has over 6 months. They're not the DM, but we did have to pay the other DM. We couldn't hire somebody for 3.5 months after our last DM left. Couldn't hire.
Right, but we actually have a situation where our DM before that had other positions in the city government.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's even a larger thing than that. And
Why isn't the borough president?
well, that's a continuing conversation.
I mean, we're volunteers. We shouldn't be
You should,
dealing
we're
with
gonna have to bring
pay.
this one back to our HR,
Yeah, well, but I just wanted to sort of like put this out because I know a lot of people are looking at new DM hires or whatever. But in a juxtaposition of fate, if I had hired the community liaison before the DM was hired, I would still be at full staff with the problem. But now, because I wanted to give my new DM an opportunity to hire somebody that he wanted to hire,
You're stuck.
to use an official, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So I think that it's something that needs to be looked into. And just overall for people who have these situations, because I have, even though I'm quote unquote approving timesheets and when I approve them every month, I say I have no way of knowing whether this is accurate or not. So I don't know why you're asking me to approve it. I'm not in the office with this person. And I think there should be.
And there's no time clock.
Right, there's no time clock, which I think in this world of sometimes virtual work or whatever, and because we're not in the offices full time, there should be some overseeing of the timesheet issue overall, which is, anyway. So I know I'm raising a lot of issues, but
We'll start a resolution.
And just like on our board, we've started, like, people take Fridays off. Every third Friday, they take the Friday off, so we don't have to pay overtime, so we don't accrue so much. And we actually, like, we're closing the week between Christmas and New Year's because.
Yeah, but they're still gonna get paid.
Well, because it means that they don't get accrued all that extra time, like.
But you can't.
You can't mandate a vacation.
Mandate a vacation.
No, they agree to it. It's something we've talked about and they agreed to.
And not using vacation time, using their time off time.
Their time off time.
I can't comment, yeah.
I don't think you can do that. Well, all right, well.
Well, it is, again, it's something we should.
I'll just go
We should
get
all know.
coffee for.
Right, I honestly think we should have somebody from Human Resources come and tell us what our.
Our responsibility.
Yeah.
Another training thing, because most people have no clue what it
Right,
is. to
this is
be a
this is
chair.
why I'm raising it here, because I think it's something that we're all interested in and should all know about and
Let's write to Deirdre,
Okay.
and make sure I'm CC.
Okay, all right,
That'd be great.
thank you, appreciate that. Okay, so moving on, we had a cannabis store application for the first time in Roosevelt Island. And over 100 residents came to our Roosevelt Island committee meeting, which is ring the bell, first time. they do not want this, and they don't, they have found out that the way that the rules are written, that they are completely unprotected because it's in a building next to a school, but the school is in a building with 100 other things. It's, you know.
That's not true, because the old cannabis commissioner told us it's not exclusive use, that's an incorrect reading.
I understand what he says, but I'm just saying, and then on top of it, these people got quite a creative, and they're gonna put a flower shop in the front of the cannabis.
We have the same one. We'll show you our resolution,
Oh, okay.
because we had concerns that if you can't put a flower shop because you're not allowed to have anybody under 21 walking.
Right, well, this is, yeah, exactly. So, so we think that maybe that, anyway, it was very interesting because, all of a sudden, all the arguments that nobody was in favor of when they were on the main island, if you will, in District 8, all of a sudden were reasons why we were gonna vote against it on the little island that is part of our district. So anyway, that was disapproved. But who knows? And I, of course, had to, with the disclaimer, say, you know, we're merely advisory, and so we can be overridden at any stage of the process. But okay, now I really want to get to what is the bane of my existence in Community District 8, which is the continuation of the building of luxury housing units every single day with, as of right, tear downs of our walk-up apartments. This is happening everywhere. I'm surrounded by 3 of them myself. 3 luxury towers going up on the corners of 2 on 71st Street and 2nd Avenue, 1 on 72nd Street. And our esteemed ex-governor, Elliot Spitzer, has now 985 Fifth Avenue. There's a story today, which I just want to set for the record. We did not approve 985 Fifth Avenue as it is stated in the article that came out in the Patch this morning. The only thing that came to us was a landmarks approval, and the only reason it was a landmarks approval is because this building happens to be in the special district. There is nothing landmarky about this building, to use a phrase. It's a 25-story building with 46 rental units. At least 6 of them were rent stabilized. The virtues, of course, of the city of Yes allow the ex-governor to actually add 1 more floor to his new building, and which will be now, instead of 19 stories high, 20 stories high. And instead of having 46 rental units, it will have 26 condo units. So as I have said previously, this is what the city of Yes is doing in my district. It is creating absolutely no affordable housing. And then the ex-governor has the nerve to come out and say that he's making a $7 million payment for affordable housing based on the rules. Well, the $7 million payment is actually going to one of the few existing affordable senior housing units that we have, which is on 73rd Street and between Madison and Park Avenues. So his $7 million payment, which, by the way, we've sat down and we're going to dispute now because we think it should be more. We think it should be more like $14 million, is going to already existing affordable housing. So we will get a big fat donut zero of affordable units. So as you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this because, you know, every day in the paper, we hear about how my district doesn't want any affordable units and we're not doing anything to try to get them.
Oh, yeah.
And that I think Chris Marte in the speaker roundtable the other night was talking about this great plan that Brad Lander has to punish districts where affordable housing isn't being built. And
there's no way he can do that because
well,
we don't have it in ours either.
Well, I mean, you know, if you continue to allow as of right housing to be torn down and these buildings to go up, there's no way that affordable housing is going to be built in districts like mine. And I don't know where the electeds are, why they aren't doing anything about it, why they think City of Yes was so great. But I just wanted to bring this example, and this is more example of how we are losing housing units.
Yep.
ironically enough, I'll end by saying this, even in my district, there's something out that will show district by district who voted in favor of 2 through 5, 2 through 4. And our district overwhelmingly voted in favor of 2 through 4 because of the way it was. The language. Right. And so the same people that voted for 2 through 4 are coming to my meetings complaining why we don't have any affordable housing. So anyway.
It's not a transparent.
Yeah, I know. I end my report on that note. Just say that Community Board 8 really wants affordable housing. And if you can find us anybody who wants to build it, we're more than happy to help them.
And it's on record right now.
Thank you.
So, Victor,
Yeah.
CB9.
Okay, I'll make it brief too. We have a building we've been fighting for a ULURP process for quite some time, for 2 years. We finally got it. Been trying to push forward. It's right now it's a 2 health centers are in there. They want to tear it down and put in supportive housing and bring back 1 health center. We're saying we have enough supportive housing, health. They're building a family health shelter 2 blocks away. We have a drug treatment center a block away. So we're just saying in this area, not my backyard, which I've been called to NIMBY, just saying in that particular area, and a school across the street. So it is going to, we had a great public hearing, good turnout. So we're looking for that to move forward. Speaking of buildings, we had a building go up, a condo with some affordable housing recently, only to find out it was built 14 stories above what it should have been. Not 2, 3, 14 stories. Like, well, who's watching?
Overnight.
So we're looking at putting together a resolution, some type of give back. What can they have more affordable housing? Can we make it longer lasting in that position? And it sticks out like a sore thumb. 28-story building and everything around there is 6, 7, maybe 10 stories. So still unbelievable. We also have a fellow from the fund. That fellow will be looking at affordable housing. What was built in the last 10 years, how much of it is affordable for the area median income in our district, not the overall, to see how that relates. Also looking at health services, equity in our area based on the area and around the city. And the third thing we'll be looking at the density of supportive facilities, drug treatment, supportive housing in the area. So we're really looking forward to that. Columbia University, been doing some work with them. They, we've been working, trying to get some of their housing. Some professors move out or other affiliates move out. So they've agreed, we got, so far, it's a sort of a test. They have 8 apartments in the buildings that they're going to turn over to us, and they're going to do a lottery system for people in the area to move into. Oh, wow. So we're hoping that could be expanded because they have a lot of the buildings in that area are Columbia buildings. So we're hoping we can move forward with that as well. And also trying to get back access to the campus. You know, you can't get into the campus. So, and it's inconvenient for people who live on either side going to the train or the bus on the other side. So we're working closely with that as well. On a really positive note, last Tuesday evening, we had the holiday lights. It's the bid on 125th Street. And 20 floats this year. Malik Gilbert, the actor who's from Harlem, was the Grand Marshal. We had a huge float. It was about an hour going around different parts of Harlem. Kids around, they have watch parties. It was really fabulous to see people participating. And 2 of the housing NYCHA developments right near there, we had them on the float as well. So it was a good time, just a good way to start off the season. So I'll end it on that.
It was a great parade.
Yeah, it was covered. CBS covered it, and Fox covered it as well.
We had a station also in front of our uptown.
Uptown, yes.
So that was great.
And a nice reception at the office before, so it was nice.
Well, thank you, everyone. We lost Marquise. He had to go off. So appreciate all of you being here. Things continue. Your DMs can continue to reach out to, the liaisons if you need anything. I'll take a motion to end the meeting.
So moved.
Second. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you, guys.
That was Art saying goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
I chair.
Treat.
Great happy ending.
What a cutie.
What a cutie pie.
That hair.
Yeah, it's like Elvis. It's like
Thanks,
Elvis.
guys. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.
No, that is-
Right on his college applications now. I attended my first.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll see you.
Training birthday.
That's how public service came into my brain.